Hey, everyone. God bless us. We made another week. We're here again on a Wednesday. Each and every week, we try to scour the earth looking for some of the legends, maybe that you don't know and that you should know. And this week, of course, is no exception to that rule. I know this gentleman a long time. And before we get into bringing this gentleman up, I want to thank everyone for every week tuning in, following us on YouTube. The YouTube numbers have been skyrocketing. Thank you for hanging with our podcasts on all the portals from iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and everywhere. And thank you, everyone. And now that we're comfortable and everybody's jumping in, I want to say, welcome to True House Stories. I am Lenny Fontana, coming out of New York City. Each and every week, I put together a show that I feel is very relevant and very important. And I like to work with people that are in the past and also in the present. This man is like the ghost of the past, but yet he is so relevant today. Strong, powerful, inclusive, that I had to go and re-ring him when he was in Egypt to tell me, I'm on my way home. I did not miss the show. Did I miss the show? I said, no, you didn't miss the show. You didn't miss the show, but you have to come and do the show. When's the show? I said, this coming Wednesday. And thankfully, he says, I'm flying home Tuesday for the show, which is great. He is known to being able to play on Thorn's turntables, which is not an easy thing. Those that know Thorn's turntables, belt driven, you had to have a soft touch. You know, we talk about it with some of the luminaries here in New York. They used to play Larry Levan and all the DJs like Bobby DJ Gotadoro in the 70s, Nicky Siano on Thorn's turntables. And this man played on Thorn's turntables as well. But it not only goes from there, he kept his career going through the 80s, into the 90s, into the 2000s, the 2010s, and now we're into the 2020s. So I'm going to say this man's been around 5 good decades of dance excellence. I'd like to welcome to the stage from Cologne, Germany. Cologne, he lives right on the Rhine River. He showed me everything. It's beautiful. He's got his little dog and his wife, Jens Lissat.
Hello.
Jens Lissat is here from Lissat and Voltax, and Jens Lissat, the DJ, Jens Lissat, the producer, Jens Lissat, the remixer, club promoter, you name it. Jens, how are you, babe? You good?
Well, as you can see, I'm pretty fine. You know, I still got some tan from Egypt. You know, yeah, the sun was good. It was 33 degrees. The water was 30, and relaxing after a hard job. You know, when how busy I am, and yeah.
Oh, you're running.
Lenny, the long time no see.
You're running 20,000 labels, producing and remixing. You're trying to run an operation. You're trying to play the DJ. You're trying to take care of the family. You're doing everything.
Yes, I'm an all-rounder. So I do the best I can. And yeah, it's nice to see you again. You know, the funny thing is, I just thought in this moment. The last time when we met in person, it was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We met by incident when I came out of the club from the Amsterdam dance event on a party night, and I was looking for a cab, for a taxi, and I said, there was a taxi in front of the club, and I said, hey, are you free? No, I have guests inside. I said, hey, and you, hey, well, wait, you come on in, and I said, okay, I should go there and there. And then you said, hey, I said, I'm Jens. I said, hey, I'm Lenny. Where are you from? Yes, I'm from New York City. And blah, blah, blah. We came over this disco. And they said,
amazing, right?
It's amazing. Crazy, Yeah. So we met in a cab in Amsterdam at the Amsterdam dance event. that was pretty cool, you know. And since that, we are always in contact.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, I know. And I later find out Jens' history. Because Jens is not written like other DJs are written about the 70s and 80s part. And then I started to realize when he came to me and said, oh, wait a minute, wait. I'm not just known for house and techno. We got to take it back. I please want to come on the show. I said, oh, yeah, we must have you on the show, Jens. So we'd like to welcome you. First of all, first question I asked so that you could tell people, we all went into lockdown and COVID. How have you been working with COVID and everything? What's life been like for you?
Yes, you know, it was, you know, the COVID came over like at the end of February 2020. And, you know, I had my last show. There was a techno party on the 29th of February 2020. We had a big techno event for my label manager for my techno label. He organized this party, and the week after, the Friday, I went onto a house party as Lissat. Because as techno, I go as Jens Lissat, and house I play as Lissat. So this following Friday, and the first Friday in March, this was the last party I played since this summer. So in the lockdown, where it was pretty tough, you know, everything stopped. The good thing was, you know, I could manage it quite good because of I have many labels, so the production still went on. And yes, so, but for a lot of artists, I know it was very tough. You know, some had to change, and some got money from the government so to survive, and some went back in their old jobs. Well, it was pretty tough for everybody, I think, around the world. And at the moment, you know, it's just, you know, it's November 2022. We have the highest rates here in Germany ever. You know, that every day the new numbers from the incidences are coming, and people are the rates are really so high. Well, that's what happens with COVID and what happens.
May I ask you, why do you think the numbers are going so high with the COVID in Germany?
Because I think the reason is, and it's being said, what's the rates are so high, because the people who are not vaccinated, they get the COVID at the moment, and because, you know, we have, you know, you can go in the supermarket, wherever, you know, the restrictions are, you know, and I don't know how to describe it. We have this rule like 2 and 3G. That the G in German means vaccinated, or you had COVID. That means, or you get a test. That's 1 and 2 and 3 possibilities where you can enter clubs and theaters and cinemas and everything. And if you go to, it depends. In some part of Germany, it's only with 2G. That means that if you're vaccinated or you had COVID, then you can enter the restaurant, not with PCR test. So it depends. It's from state to state.
Okay.
We have about 55 million people vaccinated from 82 million what we have in Germany. And the children under 12, they are missing because the vaccine is not yet allowed for them. And but there are many people who say, well, you know, they are scared because of what's happening in the future, what the vaccine might do to them, or, you know, the rumors which go around or whatever. You know, you don't know what's in these people's heads. But they are say, I wait, or they are strongly against it. They say, what? Yeah. I have in my friend circle some people who are on this, and most are vaccinated. You know that you have.
But listen, I have it right here in front of me. People fighting with me about not getting vaccinated, and every time I turn around, I hear someone goes into the hospital that's not vaccinated. They're not making it. They're not living, and that's what's scary about it. This is what's really what's really scary about it now. It's like I don't even want to have these conversations. It's like I just say, I have my own belief. I was like, look, I want to travel. I want to get back to what we do. What do I need to do to be part of this? Do I believe the vaccines are really working? Some people it's working.
I believe they're really working. I believe that. But
I have it in me.
you know, I really believe that because you know I trust in the medicine.
I trust medicine too. Trust
so
me.
you know what else? You know, for example, we can go on and on and not talk about music, but you know.
Yeah, right. Spend 2 hours thinking about
we did a lot of things in the past, you know, in the 80s and 90s and whatever. We took that and
you're old
survived, you know.
You're old enough to remember. Okay, so we've talked about this on other shows. The HIV thing that happened in the 80s, and you know, it was part of the end of the disco era. It was rampant. It was kind of like we were losing professional people in our business left and right. It was crazy times. In New York, people were dying everywhere.
Yeah, not only in New York, also here.
Yeah, I know, in Germany too.
Not like in New York, but you know, since I'm in the disco and in the scene, and I know a lot of gays, you know, who died and also in the 80s because of AIDS, and then there's still nothing working for. There's no vaccine for AIDS, and we are lucky that we have vaccine for the COVID now. You know how lucky the people would have been if there was a vaccine in the beginning of AIDS.
We'd be still having Sylvester and all them with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
All these guys, you know.
Yeah. Falco,
Yeah.
all of them were still with us. But okay. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
We have to let this, because Jens has a big story and I don't want him to lose any of it. So the one question I ask Jens, and you can take it from there on the rest, is how does music find you as a young kid? And then you can explain your life through it all and we'll guide you. So go ahead, Jens. How did it happen for you?
I start from the beginning. You know, the first touch what I had was, you know, my sister, she's 7 years older than me. You know, I was born in 1964, so she's 7 years older. And when I was about 5 years old, 1969, 1970, you know, she was recording, you know, in front of the television when we had in Germany, like pop shows, you know, there were like Beat Club or something. And she had a reel-to-reel, a very small reel-to-reel, and she was recording the music from the television with the microphone. And so I got interested into the music, you know, just, you know, when I was very, very young. And then, to shorten it up, I think it was 1974, I bought my first little 7-inch single. You know, the 7-inch singles, people, you know, who are the younger DJs, you know, the formats, you know, what we had was 7-inch and then 10-inch and then 12-inch. So the 7-inch with a big hole in the middle was my first one was the Carpenters. Stop, oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. This was my first single, and so you know, I got my money from my mom, you know, with this weekly money, what you get. I don't know the English expression for it, but, you know, you get money. In Germany, we call it Taschengeld.
Allowance in English.
Yeah, whatever, pocket money, you know, when you're, you know, from not the money what you get from your grandpa or the extra money, but so I went to, you know, I was living in a suburb of Hamburg. It's called Halstenberg. That is, you know, when Hamburg is ending, the next state starts, and it was Schleswig-Holstein, and this was the border, you know, to Hamburg. So we had a little store where there were television, they could buy radios, whatever, and they had these little 7-inch singles every week, and I was going there with my 5 marks. So, and I bought every week a new 7-inch single, and then, you know, I had a little collection, and in the school, my classmates, they invited me always to their birthday parties because I had the music. So I was already a very young DJ. So I went to these birthday parties at the age of 8, 9, 10. This is the very, very, very beginning. And then since I came back to my sister, we make a break now. My sister, 7 years older, she, when I was about 14 years old, you know, she had 14, that means that was 1978. She went to discos and she bought albums, and she played me in her room next to my room. She played like Peter Jacques band or Roy Ayers on something, stuff like that. She bought the LPs, and I was like, oh, what's the fuck? Because my stuff was more like Bay City Rollers, Status Quo, Uriah Heep, and all these the glam rock 70s stuff. So I was interested that my sister played soul and disco. And then in 1978, I went with a friend into an import shop, and I bought my first 12-inch singles, which was the first one was they are called, this Super Sound Maxi single, the German imports for you, Super Sound Maxi single. It was Giorgio Moroder, The Chase, and the second one was an UK import from two-man sound, Que Tal America. This were my first two 12 inches. So this was the start for me to collect music. Then came 1979, and now this now comes the year which made the most impact on my life. So at the end of 1978, there was a discotheque opening in Hamburg, like the Studio 54. The owner of this club, he went to New York City and to clubs like Infinity and Studio 54, and he hired a company called Design Circuit from New York, who built clubs and architecture and everything. And he met Richard Long there. This is the system where I worked. This is the Bozak mixer and the Richard Long system on the right, with on the left, which you can't see, where I'm standing in front. There was the isolator with a bass, mids and tweeters, which was amazing. And I was. In this photo, I was 17 years old. It was 1981. You have the three Thorens, TD126, MK2. So, which were really, I don't know the English word. They were, they were not fixed. They were always sliding a bit. So they had the belt drives, and yes, on the very left you could see the tape deck which where we recorded your sessions. So there's summer in 1979. I was 15 years old. My sister was 22. And she said, "Hey, there's a new club opened, And as I told you, they had Richard Long system, and they had neon lights. And by the way, in 1979, the Billboard magazine voted the Trinity light show the best light show in the world. It was really amazing, this light show. I have pictures here, but I will show you in a minute. I will see if we have a time, I go and get the photo of it. Well, so we went there that night, and the only thing that what I saw before was in our small discos where I went. I was not allowed. I was 15. I had a student passport, where you can fix your date of birth, you're 1 year higher. So on my student passport, I was already 16. So I was allowed then to go to the club until 10 o'clock. From 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, it was allowed. So I went with my sister there, and we went into the club. It was like a long floor. You went around, and then you already had to... You had the Richard Long system already pumping, and I was like, "Ooh, what the fuck is this?" It was. And then you entered through a small entrance. It was like an old theater. The theater was there first. It was down, and then up there was the whole floor, the light show, the speakers on four corners, and the bass speakers behind the booth. And you could walk on the side, on the club, up, and above the DJ, and I was looking down what he was doing. And you saw the photo with the three Thorens, There was DJ, and that night there was a New York DJ called David Bigon. He's still on Facebook if you want to check David Bigon. So he was staying there and queuing the records. I was like, what the fuck he's doing with the records? I said, he's breaking the turntables maybe, or whatever, scratching I don't know what. And then nobody showed me. I never saw this before. It was absolutely new to me. And I said, what the fuck is he doing? And this was so interesting. So I went down to him. I said, "Hey, what are you doing with the?" Yes, this is called queuing, and then you have to mix beat per beat on beats per minute, and beat on beat. You have to have beat Zoom mixing, whatever. You know, I was so young, I didn't understand what he was telling me, but the only thing I know was I wanted to do this too. So I watched him the whole night. The light shows, the neons, the confetti was going down, the big mirror ball in the middle. Amazing. So that night, you know, and the thing is, you know, I was already collecting records. I told you I bought 12 inches, I bought 7. And that night, you know, he played a lot of US imports, which I never heard before. He played all these Pusey things and Kathmandu and Savage Lovers things, you know, but with the records which I never heard before in my life. So I said, what the fuck? The music is crazy, you know. So where can I get this music from? So the next thing, we went home, my sister and me and her girlfriend, and I went to bed sleeping, and in the afternoon, or I don't know what time, I woke up and I went to my mother, and I said, "Mama, I need a credit for turntables and the mixer. I want to learn how to DJ." She said, "Oh, Jens, why not? You know, I give you some money, you can look what you want." And because the thing is, my mother, she was very old. She was in the Second World War. She made music on a gramophone on Saturday and Sunday afternoon parties at a cafe near Berlin. And she played, you know, the shellac discs on a gramophone on Saturday, Sunday afternoons on the, it's called Tanztee, you know, dance tea parties. She played the music only with one gramophone, not mixing, but she said, "Hey, I was a DJ too, Jens. So I give you the money, you can go and get the turntables and the mixer." So I went into the city the next Monday and bought 2 Technics SLB3, also belt-driven Technics in 1979, and I bought a mixer without headphone, you know, because I didn't know for queuing, you know, so to queuing so I bought the wrong, and I got the mixer home, and I said, "Hey, there's only one entry for a headphone, but you can't pre-listen the other channel." So I said, something is wrong. So I went into the city, changed the mixer with pre-listening. Then I got my equipment. I started to mix. How, I don't know, I didn't know how to do it because there was nobody who shows you or showed me how to mix. So what I found out is that the records have different tempos. Then I was counting the beats per minute, like on my watch, 15 seconds times 4. So I had almost the BPM range. And the first thing what I can do is, because I bought 2 copies of Cheap Good Times. And what I was doing is I was trying to mix them together. So I to one into the other and back and forth. And by that, you know, I learned how to double. You know, I didn't know what doubling was. You know, to you know, doubling. You know, 1 bar, 2 bars, and then I tried. You know, by incident, I learned how to phase the records. You know, I played them at the same at the same start point, and suddenly I was like, I said, "Wow, what cool effect is that?" You know, nobody showed me, so I discovered phasing, and I discovered doubling. And I learned how to mix, and then I tried mixing every afternoon after school. We had one import store in Hamburg called Soul City, who had the imports from the States. You know, we had to buy everything. And for example, one German maxi single was 7 marks, but the import was 15 marks, which was very expensive. So this is how I discovered disco music then in 1978, 79. So from that on, I started collecting imports. I was going, this is a little bit further. I was going to Amsterdam for buying imports there. I was going to London for buying imports. And if I had records, bought double copies or 3 copies of a record, which was rare. We were a small community in Hamburg, you know, disco lovers, and we shared the records, and then we sold each other and we changed copies. this was really, really a nice time. So then, 1 second, I am having a.
So I was going to ask you, who else was around that time in Hamburg that you were saying the disco lovers? As far as
Yes, I can tell you the DJ names, because this Trinity Club, which opened on December 28th, 28th December, they hired the first DJ from New York City. Her name was Sharon Lee. I don't know if you ever heard. You know Sharon Lee?
No, Sharon White. I know. Not Sharon Lee.
Famous New York DJ. They told us. We thought I never met her personally, because when my first time had in July '79, she already disappeared back to somewhere in the world, But she was, the promotion was, hey, the famous new DJ from New York, from Studio 54, Sharon Lee. But well, today nobody knows, and she disappeared. Well, then we had David B Ganon. That's what my first night. He was a DJ, and then in November 1979, this was when I was going to the club with my, I won a year card. On the teen disco, I went to the teen disco Sunday from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock, and there was tombola. There you could win something, and I won a Jahreskarte, a card to free entry for 1 year.
Membership, free membership for you. Wow.
So I was able to enter without. It was very expensive. It was 20 German marks. I don't know how much was it in dollars back then, but it was maybe $15.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about 10 to 15, if I remember correctly. Around that.
It was really, really, really expensive. If we went to another club, for example, at that time, to my discos where I went, I paid three marks, and this was 20. This was really, really, really expensive back then.
Well, because it was a Studio 54 of Hamburg.
Yeah, of course, but if you see this club, it's crazy. Well, back to the point now, so 20 marks entrance, and I won my year card, so I could enter every time. And then we had DJ Charles McRae, who is still a friend, till now. He's living in the Bronx. Have you ever heard of Charles McRae?
No.
Okay, he was from.
But there's a lot of DJs that played in Germany that were American.
Ray Yates, Ray Yates?
Yes, the names I know, Ray Yates. I heard that name, but I don't remember ever hearing them play in New York.
Yes, because when he came to Germany in 1979, he stayed here. He stayed here about 5, 6, 7 years. He was living in Hanover.
They made their names in Europe. They made their names. I know, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the point. So then. And then came 1980, at the beginning of the year, I had my first DJ gig the night before I went. I'm born on the 31st of January, so this was the 30th January was I think it was Saturday night, and my friend, he was already 19. He said, "Hey, Jens, I know you can mix a bit, and hey, there's a discotheque near Hamburg where we can play. I have a DJ gig there. If you want to join me, and you can come with me." I said, "Hey, why not?" Okay, so we mixed. We came to the club, and I mixed with them the night. They had, I can't remember that it was a Technics model without pitch control. Do you know this? It was a Technics turntable without pitch.
Those must be the radio versions. Those was it direct drive?
Crazy. I can't remember, but I think, hey,
there was no pitch on those. No pitch.
What the fuck is this? Where can I adjust the speed? And I said, there's no. And then we tried, with like. So this was my first DJ night ever. So officially, I was still 15. So and then we had in Hamburg. We had the Trinity, the club which I told you about, and we had the second best club in Hamburg, which was the Star Club. This club opened 1977, and I was there all the time because I could enter there easily Saturday nights with my student passport until 10 o'clock. So I went there a lot of times, and then by March I was really good at mixing. I recorded tapes, and I went to on a Wednesday afternoon. This is the story. On a Wednesday afternoon, I had my scooter, So well, I went with my scooter from from my hometown into the middle of Hamburg, Hamburg City, and to the club. I knocked at the door, and somebody was opening. Hey, what do you want? I say, hey, yes, is the owner here, the boss there? Because I'm a DJ. I wanna say hi, and maybe he has a job. So, come on over. No? And so I went in. We went upstairs to his office, and then there was an old man, like he was very old. His name was Horst Pascha. He was sitting there, hey, little boy, what do you want to do? Yes, I'm the DJ, and I can mix like the American DJs from Trinity. Yes, I said, and then I had my cassette recorder with me and my tape. I said, listen, I said, no, 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 no. You go upstairs and show me what you can. You're not playing a cassette here. I said, oh, okay. So I went out of the office upstairs to the DJ booth, and they switched on the electricity and everything. And then I started, they put the needle like this. And I started mixing the records, what they had, because every club had its own records that time, not the DJs bring the record, because the clubs bought the records for the DJs to play. So I played about 45 minutes or 1 hour, I can't remember exactly. And then he shouted at me, hey, come on. And then I went up to his office again. He said, hey, Jens, that was good. If you want, you can start on Saturday, but I only pay you 100 German marks. I said, wow, that's cool. Let's do it. And then he take my hand for shaking, and he looked me in the eyes, Lenny, like this, like, are you already 18? I said, sure, my car's outside. But I was 16, So I got my first residency when I was 16 in a disco. They had the floor was like the disco from the Odyssey 2001 from Saturday Night Fever. What was the club name? You know it.
That was actually in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Ralphie D played there. Yes. They had the and that
The
was
lightning on the floor.
yeah, the light guy. Who the hell installed that? Light Labs, I think, did that floor for them.
Yes, this was so my first DJ job. So yeah, this was the beginning of my career. Let's say like this, 1980 in March, and then yeah. So and then by the times I started discovered what in this.
Please search for part 2 of this podcast on the platform you're watching or listening to. And please do not forget to follow us.